What's up, guys? We are back live again. Wolf Sports, Green Means Go Betting. I'm Zach for your weekly golf preview. This week we have the Zurich Classic in New Orleans. A little bit of a different style of event, right? Two-man teams. A little bit different way of going about this. Not your standard tournament format, but yeah, it just kind of adds a little extra intrigue, I guess, to a different style. But I guess before that, we'll get into a little recap from last week as well. Green, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Doing well. Um, I am admittedly not terribly excited for this bizarre event. I uh, I told Zach before we started I'm gonna do what I can to provide value where I can, but we're gonna kind of build this as we go because this is a one of a kind, truly event on the PGA, and it is difficult, if not impossible, to try and get a model to correctly fit into the format. So we can start with last week. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Tap gets it. Tap understands that um, this week is interesting. So speaking of Tap or Cash, gave out. Sorry, we didn't practice
Oh
our
yeah, that's
orientation
fine.
here.
We'll go back to the other style.
Um, Speaking of Tapper Cash, last week he gave out the Justin Thomas first
Yeah,
round. He gave out the Justin Thomas overall. And as you can see, I've highlighted it. We did not decide, Zach and I, that is, to back Tapper Cash, to back Justin Thomas in any way, shape, or form. A complete blank across Justin Thomas's name, even though he was top 7, 8 on the model. So shame on us. Good for Tapper Cash for cashing that pick. Otherwise, I just wrote some quick placements
and
here on the model. Scheffler was first on the model, got 8th. Colin 54, Xander 18th, Fleetwood 7th. This was really good. This Daniel Berger identification out of 55-1, kind of an outlier in terms of odds. Second week in a row, we've got a pretty high placement from a guy the model picked up. So the top 10 cashed. He was the third place finisher. Hindley got 8th. Ludwig, still not sold on him, although the model tends to like him quite a bit. And then, yeah, Justin Thomas. So yeah, we even saw Brian Campbell and Ryan Gerard. I don't know what they exactly finished at. I can look, but for the first few rounds, they were up there, and we talked about them quite a bit. So you can call it a success. You can call it a failure. I don't know what to call it because it depends on how you took the information and ran with it. But I think ultimately we have to acknowledge our guy Tapper Cash in the comments for making his
oh
prediction right.
yeah, no, for sure. And hand up on that. Basically, I guess I just said like, "Hey, look, I don't, there's nothing particularly wrong with JT other than I just, look, it was his first PGA Tour tournament win in how long, right? I mean, a couple of
3 years.
years, yeah, 3 years, right? So, not that that's the only reason to stay away from somebody. It's hard to, put together for a full tournament, 4 straight days that strong win. Obviously, that's why you see these guys get so excited when they do win, even seemingly smaller, I guess, tournaments. But yeah, look, Tap was all over it. He was chirping us about JT during the stream. I know he continued riding. He kept hitting JT over and over through over the course of the weekend. He kept adding on to his position. He kept taking him in head to heads and daily bets. And look, hey, props to Tap. Um, he he cleaned up here. And yeah, I'm just putting up this comment. So yeah, at Tapper Cash is his Twitter handle if you want to go ahead and follow. He puts
And
out
and
good.
I will say, look, you were pretty strong about your Brian Harmon hate, and you said, "Is Brian Harmon really gonna win another?" He got 3rd. I mean, he was what? -14, so he was
He-
a bit back.
Yeah, a word of
But
advice here on Brian Harmon is that if I am anti Brian Harmon, he's gonna have a big weekend. If I am with Brian Harmon and I like him, then he's gonna be horrible. So just keep that in mind. Put that into the files, right? Add that to the tickler file to review in the betting journal.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those that I tend to have happen as well. So I totally understand that. Like, message somebody today. I've been on Jesus Sanchez to hit a home run for the Marlins, and some guy posted. I said today's the first day I'm laying off, so you're probably good on that leg. Should we talk about this week? Should we move on?
Well, come on.
Oh, sorry,
I need
sorry,
to, I know
sorry.
we were giving me a hard time about
Okay, you're right.
Harmon here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Clear the air.
there were a couple of other things that went a little bit better than that, right? Like, I mean, I remember mentioning, "Hey, look at a playoff. Let's take a look at will this go to a playoff?" We went through the year by year that it is a tournament that tends to go to a playoff pretty frequently, and even the years that it didn't, it was like 1 or 2 strokes off, so either playoff or very close to going to a playoff. It was, I believe we said plus 350 at the time
Yep.
when we put it out on the stream. So yeah, we went to a playoff. So if you tailed that, you got that one to the window. What else was there anything else? I know I can't really take full credit here, but I did say, hey, what's going on with Siwoo Kim? Like, this is a guy that I like. I feel like
Yeah.
this is
I
somewhere
was.
that like he would play well, but like I was like, I don't know what's going on with him. Weird stuff with Siwoo Kim. Well, look, uh, Siwoo came back with a vengeance. He was shaking that, as they like to say. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was.
Siwoo was
I
back.
I was kicking myself. I was until he fell completely into shambles on Sunday. That I was like, of course, you mention him, and we kind of write him off. And then, yeah, I mean, he looked very strong that
And I
second and
will
third
say the
round.
other thing that I will take a little bit of credit here for was the Matt Kuchar shout, which look, he didn't necessarily put together a full, deep run, but I said, hey, DFS, throw him in there. He's the cheapest guy on the board. He'll make the cut. He'll get you to Sunday, which is ultimately what you want, especially for a guy who's that cheap. I think if you had Matt Kuchar, you probably freed yourself up to make some other really strong choices. So yeah, that's
27th.
and day
His
one, I think he was like
Yeah,
he made a
fourth or
really good.
sixth.
Yeah, he was like
Yeah,
top 10 on the first day. So
yeah. The course was just a little too easy.
yeah,
He went like one under and then even on rounds 2 and 3, and it's like when everybody else is 5 and 6 under, you're not going to do anything. But yeah, he stayed alive and he made the cut. And I think you may have even said that we could review the tape, but I do think you said a top 40 at minus 110
yeah,
would
yeah.
be
I
kind of where
said
you would.
that I was like, I don't know that I'd go as bold as top 20, but
Yeah.
I felt pretty good about top 40.
So that would have cashed 30 seconds. So that's we had a good week last week. We can accept that. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with admitting it. Um, well, we good? We good to move on? I got a question here about baseball. Maybe we'll save that for a bonus at the end
We'll do that
or
in the
another.
admin portion of
Yeah,
the program.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, this week, do we want to talk about it? We
Yeah,
good? Okay.
we'll hash
Can you
through
move can you move the I know there's one that works. I know there's one. No, not that one. I know there's just a perfect, not that one. I'll know it when I see it. Like I just know it's in there.
I
No,
mean,
that's certain.
these are the ones that we've
No, no, no. I just thought there was. Oh, that's worse.
yeah, that's all we got. That's everything. The
Oh,
other one was
okay.
when we had it reformatted. So yeah.
Okay. Then
This
maybe
is
I
the
messed up.
Zurich. This is the
Maybe this is
Zurich
on me.
for you. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you can
so
zoom that in if you can
so
zoom in
the
on it.
so the Zurich Classic is
There
a
we go.
bit of an outlier. It takes place over a typical Thursday to Sunday, but it is not normal stroke play. Everybody who enters this has a teammate. So Rory is with Shane Lowry. Kurt Kitayama is with Colin Morikawa. And outside of that, a casual golf fan is likely not going to know any of the other pairings. The Hogard brothers are in there, but it's a who's who of it's a mishmash. It's rough. And so tomorrow, what they will do is each person will play their own ball, and the best score on each hole counts. So if Rory goes out and shoots a birdie and Shane Lowry gets a double bogey, they'll take Rory's 3 and they will move on to hole 2, where they'll take the best score again. So it is just 2 guys on the same team taking the best score for 18 holes. Then on Friday, they will come out and Rory will drive on hole 1 from the tee box, and then Shane will hit the second shot, and then Rory will hit the third shot, and then Shane will hit the fourth shot until the ball is holed. They're alternating. And then Rory will give up the honors for the tee, and Shane will tee off on the even holes. And they will just alternate shots until the ball is holed for 18 holes. Saturday, we have a repeat of the 4-ball or best ball or whatever it's called. I grew up calling best ball, which is actually scramble. So I don't know if it's a Midwest thing. I don't know if I was just ill-informed, but to me, 4 guys go out and everybody drives, you take the best one. To me, that was what I called best ball, but that's actually called scramble. Is that what you call it, Zach? Or is there, how do you differentiate between best ball and scramble?
I mean, I think they're essentially the same thing, right?
See,
But
that's what I thought. But best ball is what they're playing on Thursday and Saturday, where everybody plays their own and then they take the best score. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I always called like best ball when 4 people go out and you all hit a shot and then
oh,
you
no,
move.
no, no. Yeah, so okay, yeah, it is where the best ball is where each per like you just take the best score. So you keep playing your own ball and it's just whoever has the best score on that hole is what you take,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we have on Thursday, Saturday, and then Friday, Sunday is
Which is
alternating
odd
shots.
because you would think the terminology would actually be
Correct.
opposite of that.
Yeah, that's why it's driven me nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
But regardless, this is the format. Now, I'm going to tell you now that trying to get a model to understand, like, there's no model this week. There's no data. I'll give you some information in a second, but this is not a typical show, which is very confusing. Yes, Tapper Cash, it is. And personally, this is kind of my week. This is my bye week in PGA, to be completely honest. Typically, I'll probably watch more of it this week than I would. And I think the biggest thing outside of the format being weird is just the caliber of players. If you look at the odds, which FanDuel just locked all of their odds, so I don't know what is happening. I don't know if they thought that the stream,
Yeah, they they're waiting till the stream's over.
they don't want us to give out some edges and then them just get completely busted after
Yeah.
they saw Tapper Cash last week. So they've locked all their odds. But DraftKings is up. So you got Rory and Shane Lowry, which um is there, I could probably, let me do this. Let
Yeah,
me
this
let
is
me
weird.
let me share just the odds so we can kind of look through that. And that may kind of make it easier to understand where I'm coming from in terms of how bizarre this is. Which this is incredibly small as well. Let me zoom it in. So you have Shane and Rory, obvious favorite, at 360. And then you have Kurt Kitayama and Colin at 1400. And then your next best pairing is, do you want me to,
Yeah, zoom out maybe slightly.
okay. Your next best pairing is
There you go.
Keith Mitchell and JT Poston at 16-1. And then you got Thomas Dietrich, Robert McIntyre, Taylor Moore, and Wyndham Clark. Yeah, Wyndham Clark, yeah, is maybe the
I
4th or 5th best player, but
I
yeah,
was gonna say I feel like this is an event where the field has really been hurt by live.
live. Yeah.
Because I remember there used to be some pretty fun pairings and like some good teams out there. And not that these guys don't have game, but there's just not like
Yeah.
the big name guys, the guys that you want to follow. Like nobody's like, man, I can't wait to watch Tom Hoagie this weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, not
So, and then, I mean, and then you have guys like Sepp Straka, great, has had a good year, but he's with Bryce Garnett.
yeah,
Who's Bryce?
right. I know.
I am not from, I study this stuff and I'm not very keen on Bryce Garnett. So, um, yeah, it's a mix of, non-traditional format, and I do think a lot of players take it for a bye week. I mean, I would be interested to look at the
Yeah,
FedEx Cup standings and see how many of the top 20 sit this week out. Just
especially if there's not
because,
somebody that you want to play with.
yeah, like
No.
Kurt Kitayama and Colin is a little. it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a little bizarre, a bizarre pairing. Um, so
I thought I remembered Cantlay playing in this before.
yeah, he um he played with Shoffley in 2002, which um sorry, I'm going kind of back and forth
Yeah,
here.
you're fine.
But if I share this, I have the history of the event. So last year, Lowry and McElroy won. um, looking at their score, minus 25. So
Jeez, this was a
uh,
rough top
yeah,
5 last year. Like, my god.
yeah,
Ramey
uh,
and Trainer, uh, finished in a tie with Rory and McIlroy. Yeah, yeah,
right. So like maybe there's something to the positive where you can say it's anybody's game, it's a crapshoot. Look down the board if you like a Sepp Straka, yeah, 30 to 1. Like, but I don't have confidence in picking the Chad Ramey and Martin Trainers of 2025. Like, I don't feel equipped. I mean, we're
yeah,
playing roulette. Is kind of what it feels like. We're spinning a wheel and we're tossing a ball on, and oh, Chad Ramey pulls it off. So again, 2023, Nick Hardy and Davis Riley at 30 under. Adam
yeah.
Hadwin, Nick Taylor, Canadian duo there. Cantlay and Shoffley makes sense. Sam Burns, Billy Horschel, okay. Mark Leishman, Cam Smith, Louis Oosthuizen, Charles Schwartzel. Like,
Yeah, see, now we're getting into live guys.
yeah, right, right. But I think one thing is for certain: scores are going to be low.
M
And
Maybe
so
we shoulda looked at a live tournament this weekend. I don't know. Maybe
we
not.
should.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know if I've ever really bet on. I bet on love a little bit, but and I don't want to say nothing matters, but like this event is not easily analyzed just because of how it's set up, and there's no
Yeah,
like traditional scores on this course, and so it just it you know in a format as this, you want guys who are going to be put on the green at 12 and 15 feet on the alternating shot, and you want guys who are going to be able to make that putt. um that's where you're going to see a lot of the scores, the significance. And it had Rory not figured out his putter, maybe I would be willing to go off of that team. But Lowry putts pretty well. Rory hits the ball pretty far. So I don't want to. I don't want to stray away from that. Tapper Cash, he's he- Lowry and Rory just go back to back. Yeah, he's on that. So if we look at the adjusted course fit by team, this is or these are the pairings that are set up most equipped for success at TPC Louisiana. Shane and Rory at the top, Joseph Bramlett and Alex Smalley. Like again, I don't I'm not trust I'm giving you this information, but I'm telling you I am not blindly trusting this information. I've highlighted some guys that stick out to me, but this is just what the model says based on,
yeah.
so it is what it is. And so as far as picks go, I got a fresh canvas. I mean, we can look through some things and talk through some things um and try to make reasonable guesses. I have one. I would like to have FanDuel's lines up right now. That would be fantastic. I truly don't know if there's weather news, if there's uh, what's going on. I don't know why FanDuel would have these lines not available.
Uh,
But
it
go ahead.
Can I just make a quick point that kinda stink?
Please.
'Cause I was pulling up some DFS stuff, like, just looking, and because I was trying to put together a lineup for this last night, and it's a little difficult because it's like you can only take one person of the so, like, let's use Rory and, Lowry as an example. You can only pick one of those 2. They're the exact same price, and you can only pick one of them. So you either pick Rory or Lowry, but So there's some, and again, this is a field that it doesn't have the most recognizable signature names, not loaded with household names, right? So, just out of curiosity, I went ahead, I clicked into the Live Mexico City um, tournament for this weekend just to see, hey, like maybe this would be fun to put something together for. Right away, Rom, DeChambeau, Neiman, Hatton, Patrick Reed, Sergio, Brooks Kepka, like Cam Smith. It's like, man, like Abe
It's those
Answer,
guys. Yeah.
yeah, like even Louis, DJ, come on, can we, Phil, like this, I don't know, can we figure something out? I thought they were supposed to be figuring something out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enough
I
already.
I don't it's money, 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 money. It's all it is. Um,
So yeah, I guess that'll be. I'll probably throw something together for that. If we're being honest, I'll have some sort of lineup. Just I don't, I'll throw like a small. Anyway, this one will
yeah.
be small too as well. But yeah, that was just a quick aside. Just as we're kind of looking through this field and seeing a lot of unknowns, it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What did they
Uh,
do to the? What happened to the game I love, as Mark
right.
Jackson would say?
So is there try the narrow one? I'll adjust my screen so we
Oh
can
yeah.
get this actually looking reasonable. I think if I can no, it won't let me minimize. That's the most frustrating part. So yeah, if we just want to look through, I realize that's pretty small. So I'll call out what we're clicking on. Um, Lowry and McElroy are your favorites. And again, I ran quote unquote a model kind of just with generic stats, um, strokes gained, weighted strokes gained, putting, course history. Um, and Rory was first, Wyndham Clark, Colin Morikawa, Max Grazeman, Justin Lauer, Akshay Bhatia. Who's Bhatia's partner?
Uh, C. Young, who is not Cam Young, it's Carson Young.
Carson?
Yeah,
How low are they? Are they
like price wise,
Yeah. Oh, here we go. 35 to 1. So
yeah,
they're on down the way. So Akshay Bhatia is quote unquote the sixth best golfer in this field based on one model ran, based on very generic stats. I don't know how much we're buying into that. Carson Young is 49th. So not the best partner for
yeah.
Akshay.
So he played Punta Cana last week, finished 112th, missed the
Ooh.
cut, but he did Valero, finished 40th.
Okay.
The players, he finished 54th. Trying to see anything else that would stick out. Not really. I mean, he did finish second in the Worldwide Technology Championship. I don't know who else was in that field, but
Yeah. Um, Again, p- poor. I just like it hurts me to look at this. Truly, it hurts me to go through this. Hinchman's back, huh?
I will say there was. I think last year it was Minwoo Lee and Siwoo Kim. I think was the pairing from last year, if I am remembering that correctly.
I mean, Akshay and Carson Young top 20 at
Yeah.
115. Um, I mean, for as okay as, but I mean, but then I'm just kind of I don't want to bet just to bet. You know what I mean?
No, I
I
know,
don't
but
want.
that's what I've been saying. That's what the DFS stuff's for. That's why I think that's fun because it's a way that you don't have to enter these big mega. You throw 5, 10, $20 maybe at one of these tournaments here or there. Just to if you wanna for the love of the game, you wanna get involved in the golf, you wanna follow the tournament, I think that's a fun way to get in the mix because like I said, I'm almost certain last year that I bet on Cantlay and Xander, and they finished tied for 23rd. Um, so falling behind powerhouses such as, Smotherman, List, Norlander, Phillips, Bridgman, you know, uh, yeah, Eckroat and Gotterup. So, anyway,
Maybe round scores.
tread
Yeah.
lightly this week is what I would say.
Round scores, I mean, they're sitting at 64 and a half. Here's what I'll here is what I will say in terms of if you're interested in this event, maybe you'll watch it, maybe you'll bet live. Watch how the course is playing. There last week at the RBC, hole 2 was a par 5 and the pin was up, and a lot of people were reaching it in 2, or they were laying up in 2 and having a pretty easy flat pitch shot and putt. And so like of the first 10 golfers that played it, 9 of them birdied or better. And so I looked at some odds for the whole scores for that, and there were some minus 160s, minus 200s out there. Which like I know that 10 golfers isn't a huge sample size, but 90% of them were birdieing it. It was obviously easy. And so that minus 200 became very good value on an average golfer. So I like blindly bet a handful of those, and was able to do pretty well just watching and picking up something that the book is, the book, they do okay, but like they don't, like, are all the books adjusting for where the pin is placed? I don't know. The fact that there was no wind, all that stuff. So I would look at how teams are coming out, because in the format that they're playing, I think last year Rory and
3, 4.
Shane
There were
were
4 teams that shot 61 round 1. So
right.
there was a four-way tie for the lead round
Yeah.
1 last year.
And so a lot of these, you can get Colin and Kurt at under 64 and a half at plus money. Taylor Moore and Wyndham Clark under 64 and a half at plus money. So, I don't know if these are going to be available live, but in theory, let's say Taylor Moore and Wyndham Clark tee off in the afternoon and you're watching all these scores go low. The conditions are great. The pins are in good spots. Maybe the round score is something that you want to get to. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
again,
because there's, everybody shot in the 60s. There's a random 70,
yeah,
another 70, 3 70s, and a 71, and outside of that, everyone shot in the 60s.
yeah,
Day 2 was a different story, but yeah, that first day, wow, there was, some a lot of low
right.
60s.
Yeah. Um, I mean, this is even interesting. Bogey or worse. Uh, in a round one, you're going to take the best score. So basically, you're betting on, will there be a hole where both JT Poston and Keith Mitchell bogey? I, I, I mean, just a gut reaction. Minus 145 is pretty good for as simple as the score. Like the odds that they both bogey the same hole, it doesn't it doesn't feel like 145 is too bad of a price in that instance. But again, I would look at it on your own and kind of see how the course is playing. But an interesting market, because, like I said, they're going to take the best score from both of the players. So you're basically, the opposite side is, will they both bogey the hole in the same trip? So I don't know, just a market that I didn't really consider, but it's out there. I mean, some of these hole scores are crazy. Hole 11 must be a
Oh,
par
yeah.
5. Birdie or better is minus 320. So one of those guys to birdie. Yeah. The only other thing that I saw that caught my eye potentially is, if you like Lowry and Rory, maybe a sprinkle on the wire to wire, which means they lead after every round at 18 to 1. I guess I could probably compare that to first round leader. What did Tap say? Give us one round leader lead. Oh boy.
I will
Although
say
by
a cool story. There are 2 brothers playing together, right? Matt Fitzpatrick and Alex Fitzpatrick are playing as partners.
and the Hoygaard brothers, there's double brothers, double brother trouble.
Oh, yeah, are there the Højgaards both in here? Yeah.
Yeah, Rasmus and Nikolai, which they haven't been in the worst form. Novak looks pretty good last week, obviously, took him to a playoff. Aaron Rai and Sahith is Thigala's not looked good this year. You want a round one leader lean? Oh goodness, Tapper Cash.
That's what I
This
was
is
saying. That's why I said that there were 4 people that tied for the lead last year, and they all shot a 61.
yeah, this is disgusting,
It
is
was
what it is.
Rory, Shane, Brim, Hubbard, who else shot a 61? Rye, Lipsky, and, Coles and, Kazire. Did I say that right? He's the Italian, right?
Kazire.
Kazire, yeah.
Like you have Jason Duffner and Lee Hodges as a top 20 odds. Like that should never be I should never see those two guys remotely close to
No.
even the middle of the pack. Oh, you got Siwoo Kim and Sangmoon Bae. Okay. Okay, I think the problem is some of the better names are just down at the bottom because they're paired with absolute nobodies.
Yeah.
This is I mean,
But maybe that's the way to go is
yeah,
because
no pressure on the nobodies. They just have to.
right, and I mean, like, you're taking the best score anyway on every hole, you just it's like a bad scramble partner where you just, "Hey, like, just give me a good read on the putts maybe." Well, but you're playing your own ball, so that doesn't
Zach
really
Jo
help either.
here's one. Here's one. Zach Johnson and Ryan Palmer
Hmm.
down here. Don't play it. Don't play it a first round leader. I'm interested to see what like their top 20 is. Zach Johnson has, I mean, what? GRP wins was on Zach Johnson at the Masters,
Yeah,
and
he
he,
finished 8th.
yeah,
Dude, he finished
um,
18th at Valero.
yeah. So Zach Johnson, call me crazy, but his form might not be half horrible. Ryan Palmer, top 20 plus 400, top
Ooh,
10, 11 to
tough.
1.
Couple tough, back-to-backs. Missed the
What's
cut
Ryan?
at Brian Palmer missed the cut at Valero, missed the cut at Texans Children's,
Hmm,
Houston Open, 107, 152. Yeah, he's, finished
okay.
77th at Waste Management.
He's a liability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 4 out of 13 made cuts.
Yeah, okay. Um, like, I would love nothing more than to sit in front of you right now and be like, "These are the guys with value. These are the guys that I think are underpriced. This is who's gonna fit well."
Yeah,
And I
we
I just truly think that you're buying scratch-offs.
yeah, we knew this was a tough week, but hey, we still had to fulfill our contractual obligations here. We had Green had to, fulfill his NIL deal, and this was a deliverable was to we had to do all of them. So no weeks off,
Yep.
right in the thick of the season. So yeah, we're still punching in. Just know that it's a rough go of things this week.
So here's what I'll say. Tapper Cash, I'll answer your question.
Is he saying to fade the Euros? Is that what we're hearing? I'm getting reports that it says for Tapper Cash, it says to fade the Euros.
Who knows? Um, here's what I'm personally going to do because I don't have any leans, I don't have any edge, I don't have any good feeling. I have some free bets from the promo on DraftKings of he did not say that of the betting the home runs. You can bet a home run every day on DraftKings and they give you a free bet. So I have a plethora of free bets that are worth $5 that I'm going to throw out. And round one leader, Shane and Rory, history here, won last year, both in good form, 12 to 1. Let's throw a free bet on that. So I know that's
Oh, I
chalky.
got I got one for you. What about Keith Mitchell, JT Poston?
Yeah, if you go back to my presentation, they were a highlighted name.
Yeah.
I think they could get hot.
Yeah, and
So
both, coming off of good finishes. Uh, I mean, Keith Mitchell hasn't played in a while, but or I mean, he hasn't played in a major. He played at the Punta Cana last week, finished second, but he shot 64 round one.
yeah,
Valero, he finished 12th. He shot a 64.
Yeah.
Houston Open, he finished 18th and he shot 65. So this man goes low round one, Keith Mitchell. It seems to be that later, hit round four is his,
Falls apart.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So that'd be a guy I'd keep an eye on. And yeah, obviously JT Poston coming off the hot finish
So,
uh,
yeah,
from RBC. So yeah, let's go there for if we
we'll
wanted to go
we'll
round one.
say I'll put a free bet on first round leader of the big dogs, Shane and Rory, and then I would not even mind a free bet on the outrights of Poston and Mitchell, Moore and Clark, Ryan Thagala. These would be where my head goes in terms of not betting any amount of legitimate bankrolled units. I'm talking strictly. I have a $5 or $10 free bet that if I turn it into 100, then boy howdy, I'm excited, um, because I got nothing for a measurable edge at this event. So Aaron Ryan Thagala, Taylor Moore, Wyndham Clark, JT Poston, Keith Mitchell, and then round one of Lowry and Rory. And I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to add it here so we can talk about it next week, because I want to make sure I'm being accountable, Zach. I want to make sure that if I'm giving out plays, they are accurately tracked, perfectly tracked, so that I am not accused of anything on the internet as I have been accused of this last 24
Well, yeah,
hours.
you're cooking the books.
Yeah.
Cooking the books.
Yeah. Brutal. I mean, heaven forbid somebody
That's
makes a
what the word
mistake.
on the street is, anyway.
Yeah. We got people actually scamming and ripping people off, and I forget a .1 unit play, and I am public enemy number one. Okay, so yeah, those are my plays, and they are free bet plays, and they are mini bye week situation here. So that's what I have. Zach, do you have any final thoughts, feelings, leans?
No, like I said, I mean, I
Sharp?
think as we kind of talked through it, we've given enough disclaimers as to kind of how we feel about this one. We'll be back, I guess, dialed back into our A game for next week. What do we have? Byron Nelson, I think. I think that's next week. Yeah, but not didn't want to mail this weekend. It's just, it's it's a tough in betweener. It's a tough in betweener. Maybe we'll look at. I don't know. I don't even want to get into handicapping live stuff, but
We
it's
could.
tough.
If I had
It's
a heads up, we could do it.
Yeah. It's just I feel like we'll run into issue. Like there's not really course history necessarily. There's not.
Yeah,
I don't know. Might get a little hairy, but
yeah.
we'll see.
I could. Yeah, it can be done. Um, Yeah, if you give me a heads up, the model can account for live. So if there's ever a time where we need to do that, maybe we could do like a special live segment every week too. I could throw in.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Yeah, let's. What am I
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Let's
Let
not
me
give
see.
them that much.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really just to fill the gaps on weeks like this where
yeah.
you know
You're right. You're right. What am I doing?
maybe we'll do it whenever we have the Stableford week
Yeah,
that comes around.
yeah. Okay, let me answer that question real quick. Can I answer this? I don't know this.
Which one?
What's the best way to use ballpark pal to select money line, no runs inning, and first 5 picks?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's still here. Maybe I wait to see
Yeah,
if he's
well, we
still.
did say we would cover it at the end. We said, "Hey,
Yeah,
wait
so
for the admin portion, and we'll
I'm gonna wait till he
get
gives
back
us
to it."
the, "I'm still here." If not, I'm not giving out free game, just to any old person, you know? I also don't know if there is a concrete answer to this question, which is why I like Ballpark Pal, because it's a tool that
Yeah,
you can use in all different ways for your own benefit, and that's the beauty of it. It's not a spoon feeding sort of situation. He's not here, so um, sorry. I don't even feel comfortable saying his name, so I'm just gonna. It's just it's just not not we'll move
he's
we'll move
he's
past
auditing. It's fine. I'm not. I can't even get
a
a
lineup.
Yeah, it's hard. Uh,
Let me see.
You gotta go. You gotta dig deep.
Okay, I'm taking Rory or Shane. You have to, and I know you didn't, but I'm going
No,
to.
nope, yeah, you know that's not my style.
The data is overwhelming. Okay, so um, he is here. Nice. It is overwhelming,
Yeah.
and I think that
I was laughing because I thought he was being facetious about the data for this tournament that
oh, no, he's talking
yeah,
ballpark foul.
no, but it was an earnest comment.
Yeah. So just some things that I think about. And again, the data being overwhelming is a good thing, which likely tells me that I would suggest taking a step back and focusing on one thing. Um, Maybe you want to look at no run first inning. Maybe you want to look at money lines. Maybe you want to look at first five. I wouldn't try to do all of that at one time. So if I'm looking at first five, what I'm really thinking about is starting pitcher and how they compare to the lineup of the batters. Bullpen, probably not in the equation. So, I would look at the starting pitchers tab and I would, of course, I got logged out over here, and look at how each starting pitcher compares to the lineup of the other team. Look at their hit percentage. Look at their strikeout rate. Does one team have a sizable edge in a lineup versus a pitcher than the other lineup? That's one way you can do it. Um, you also, if I don't know if you've looked at it, but he has something called cheat sheets. It's on the main page. If you click on that and scroll down, it gives you kind of a condensed, less overwhelming look at the pitchers, at the batters, at the preview. And you can use that to just get a really zoomed in look of, okay, there is an obvious edge in this matchup or this game. Specifically looking at the Angels and Pirates game tonight, the Angels have a significant, according to the stats, edge in pitching. So what's the line? Um, is is uh is there value like if the Angels are a heavy favorite, there may not be value, but if it's a pick 'em, maybe there's value there. If both of the pitchers suck, well, maybe we can look at overs. If both of these pitchers look like they're going to give up hits, don't try to pick a winning team. Just try to pick a winning number. Oh wow, 4.5 runs. Okay, we can get there. So I like Ballpark Pal because it doesn't tell me what I have to bet. It helps me uh make an informed choice. Yeah, sticking to money lines, I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The only thing I think, yeah, I think that's fine. It's just I don't like handicapping a first five based on starting pitchers and matchups, and then winning that bet based on the data that I gathered. And then in the eighth inning, a reliever comes in and gets hit for 5 runs, and I lose the money line, even though my read was on the first five, if that makes sense. So, uh, you know, I would maybe suggest looking at first fives before money lines because their odds and their value is going to be very similar to each other. If a team is favored in the first five, they're going to be favored on the game. So, especially if you're looking at starting pitcher and matchup there, focus probably on first five. Long term, it's probably going to be better for you. That would be my suggestion. But yeah, look at the cheat sheets. That condenses it pretty well. Look at the pitcher matchups. I don't typically look a lot at his game sims. People do. Um, it might be worth it to get another resource, but I like to take the raw data and come to my own conclusions. So that's my loose advice. But again, I use this mostly for home runs. And then if in my home run research, I see a huge discrepancy, like yesterday, the Nationals bats were significantly better compared to Dean Krimmer than the Baltimore bats were compared to whoever was pitching for Washington. But it was a pick 'em. So it's like there was an overwhelming advantage for Washington bats, but you were giving me 50-50. So Washington first five was a good bet by my estimation, and they were up like 5-0 at one. That's one example, but that's kind of how I look at it as well. We're just turning into a golf. We're just turning into a baseball. Now we got Tapper Cash wanting to know about Guardians and Yankees, Phillies and Mets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well, hey, I mean, look, we have to pivot I almost have this lineup put together. I'm doing some last minute tinkering, and I'll have my DFS
um,
lineup here.
Phillies.
I do want to ask a question real quick
Yeah,
though,
please,
because
please,
as
please.
we did with Siwoo, do we think that he's like back, or was RBC Heritage maybe a one off, or what do we?
There's something scary about a guy who is back for 3 rounds and then falls apart on Sunday and then has to get over that to come back on a Thursday.
Yeah, he's playing with Sangmoon Bay.
So had he performed on Sunday, maybe he's back, but to fall off as far as he did on Sunday, it makes me nervous to just like I don't see him being like able to. There's no momentum. Like there's just sadness. So, um, yeah, Siwoo is back, but his Sunday struggles are a concern. Yeah.
Who did I have? No, I
Hey, you're
forget.
welcome. I'm always if you need anything, you can email me. You can put a comment on one of my YouTube videos. I will happily help you as much as I can. Um, and yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, here's what I had. I had Batia, Batia and Young.
Okay, I like it.
I have Morikawa and Kitayama.
Okay,
I have JT Poston and Mitchell.
great.
Did I mention Zach Johnson and Ryan Palmer?
No.
Okay. And then here's where it gets interesting. We have Antoine Rosner and Ventura.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And Cristobal del Solar. If I mean, who I'm sure everybody's of Chilean fame, everybody's familiar, I'm sure. And Mateo Manacero is his partner.
Wow. All I can say is good luck. I mean, all
Yeah,
I can say is good luck.
yeah. So we're going Batia, Del Solar, Zach Johnson, Morikawa, Poston, and Rosner, and you
Okay.
get their partner score too. So just
I
those are the
might go
guys
Brent
that.
Snedeker and Ches Reavie down there at the bottom. I mean, this is painful. This hurts to do.
Yeah,
Holy cow. Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, I'm just yeah, I may as well just go buy a scratch off. Yeah.
yeah. I was in
Okay.
the cash in my DFS last week. I will say I did end up cashing it with my lineup.
I was good until Campbell, Scheffler, and Kuchar all fell apart in round 3 and 4, but for a
Yeah,
second
who
there,
did
I
I
was
have? That's not even let me pull it up. Whatever. Oh yeah, yeah. Xander, Fleetwood, Straka, Poston, Glover, Kuchar. Yeah,
yeah. All right, well, that's what I got. I gotta get off here. Um, but as always, thanks for having me,
yeah.
and I'm
I will
excited.
say I don't know if anybody gave the thoughts on Philly's match real quick.
I
Look, I would. I mean, look, with anytime Wheeler's on the hill, it is tough to fade.
what's the
Uh
line? Are we at 7.5 on that or
oh, the total.
yeah, 7.5? Um, what's the first 5? First 5, 3.5 or 4.5? A first 5, 3.5 at a good price. I wouldn't. I hate how some of these are set up. I hate how some of these are set up. Like, give me first X innings. There we go. First 3, first 5. First, is it? Every book has it different. Every book has.
I know. It's infuriating.
I just want where the first 5. Wouldn't that be like a pretty simple first X innings? It should be here. First 5. It's at the top. Okay. Um.
Maybe lay the
Yeah,
half run
three
with
and
the
a half is
Phillies. Yeah.
140. I was gonna say 3.5 at a -110 maybe, but at 140, no.
Maybe lay
Um,
the half. What's the lay the half run with the Phillies? What is that? It should be plus, right? Minus a half on the first five.
oh, um,
Scroll down a little. Yeah, right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't care for Wheeler in this matchup, and I actually don't mind Peterson. We're gonna be opposite here, so
Yeah.
we're gonna um, Mets 2 runs. Mets 2 runs in the first 5. I don't hate that at -120. We need to do an MLB stream like this
Yeah,
sometime.
we should. We should.
Um, okay, yeah, but I gotta head
Another
out.
time.
Um,
Yeah, good luck with the Zurich. Take it easy. Don't overextend yourself. Definitely not this week. I can't imagine you're going to be rushing to get your bets in with all the great information that we dropped today. So, you know, we're but hey, we didn't want to take a day off. No days off here. We keep it running, keep the train running. Thanks everybody who checked in. Thanks everybody who participated in the comments as well. Tap, shout out again on your win last week with JT. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next week.